Hello, this is Carl. Today I'm going to be going over my Sudoku 10B version game. First, this is how it looks when it's open. I'm running this in Google Chrome in full screen. And you can watch this YouTube tutorial by clicking on here. It'll open in a new window. You can download the game right here. You can save it on your own computer, or you can just make a shortcut to this link and you can play it off the website. It says it's best viewed in full screen, which is correct. First thing we're going to go over is this section here in the light blue. This will allow you to print a book. So you can choose how many pages you want for your book. You can also, this would just type in a number. And here you can have selections on, you want your puzzle board to be a big, large one for like larger print, and it'd be one on a page. Or you can have a medium, which is 2 on a page, or small, which is 4 on a page. This here is if you want a checkoff table. A checkoff table would be, like, let's just do the large one for right now. And we're going to stay with 4 pages and print my book. That's all I got to do. Here's your level. You can just select which level you want your puzzle to be. So right now we're going to leave this checked for the checkoff table and print my book. These are the checkoff buttons. If you don't want these in here, that's something you can like just cross them off. Like see, this here's a 5, so you can cross off the 5s. And it just makes it easier. You don't have to write numbers and stuff in there. Or if you want to do circles, you could say like this one's a 1 and this is a 1. So that means that one of these two has to be a 1. So you could just circle those two number 1s. So you know that in this block, it's one of them too. Okay. There's puzzle 2, 3, and 4. And you can actually print so many of these books, different kinds that you want. It'll be just fine. Okay, we're now in the section where we get to select a puzzle to play on the master game board. First of all, we can select a puzzle from this drop-down list, and we have a lot of puzzles we can choose from. The ones at the top of the list are easier puzzles. The ones towards the middle are, as the further down you go, the harder they get. And we have 1,498 puzzles in this. So let's try puzzle number 5. Puzzle number 5, it puts it in here, what the puzzle actually is. And these dots are empty cells. The 9 and the 7 is ones that are already filled in for you. So like when you're up here and you want to just type in one of your own, you would just type in the numbers, like you would copy it out of a newspaper or wherever you get it from. And you would type in the numbers, let's say 85. And if there's a blank space, just hit the dot, or you can hit a plus or whatever it is. And I don't have a puzzle in front of me right offhand, so I am not going to try that. I'm just going to go with number 5, and we'll set the board up. After you select your puzzle or you have it typed in, you click Set Up the Board. And remember the 9 and 7 were on the top with a couple blanks. So this is how the puzzle looks. This is your checkoff tables. And right now it's set up for lime and red. So when I left click, it alternates between green and gray. When I right click, it alternates between red and gray. Now I can come down here and choose more colors. You know, I have a whole different selection here. Rotate between 5 colors. I normally leave it set on lime and red, or else I'll switch back to this. Once in a while I'll use this one, but the rest I pretty much don't use. Maybe some down here I'll go to white as a default color. But when you're like doing other things in the puzzle, you can, I'll show you how this all works later. I'm left clicking now and you can see it's rotating through these colors. Now when I right click, it goes backwards through the colors. This one here is color by number. And you see down here, 1 is like this aqua color. And then there's a green color for the 2 and some kind of an orange reddish color for 3. So that means when I click on 1, it will rotate back and forth, alternate between the number 1 color. So I can actually make it kind of colorful, and it just identifies numbers. I'm just going to replay this game so I can start it back over without having to do all that. By default, it comes in here because you've got rows and you've got columns. Rows and columns. Playing this game isn't really that hard because it involves the numbers 1 to 9, and you have this going across here is your row, and there's 9 rows going across. There's 9 columns going up and down, and there's 9 of these blocks. The object of the game is to get the numbers 1 to 9 all the way across without duplicating anything, which you can if you're using all the numbers, 1 to 9 all the way down, and 1 to 9 in this block, and without duplicating any of the numbers, using all of them. Now, when we start out this game, we can see, well, let me go over this here a little bit. This here is your checkoff boxes. So when you decide like, oh, this one here says 8, this says 8, which means this one has to be the 8. So I would click on here first, anywhere in this box, it doesn't really matter. I could change the 5, I could change the 8, I could change them all, doesn't really matter. And then I would come over here and click this 8, because that's the 8. And you can see, put the big 8 in there, and it's green, so you know which one you actually changed. Let's say I made a mistake, and that's not an 8, and I don't know what I had checked in there. I could use the undo. Well, let me redo all that. I could just click on this box and put that in there. Now I want to do the undo. See? It gave me my 8 back, and it added that one on there. If I wanted to see which cell I was on, like I can hover the mouse over and it doesn't do anything, but I can check this box off here, and it says show cell label help tips. So when I do this, I can put the mouse over and it tells me this is cell 3. This is cell 2. This is cell 6. This is cell 51. This is cell 81. That's not real important unless you do this check button and it tells you all the different cells that are missing. But you don't really need this check. I never really use anymore. It checks my answers after I get the table complete. So that is almost like useless. This button here, or this checkbox, when you have this checked and you're finished doing the table and you have some answer in the wrong spot, like duplicates and stuff, you can select this if you want to change the number to red, so to help you identify which one's duplicated. Or if you uncheck it, it will give you a checkoff table like this, so it'll put it back to like this default type of a checkoff table. Okay, let's go over this checkbox here. This one here shows you message alerts. This would be like for the times when you put too many of the same number in. So let's take a look and see how this works. Right now we have it checked. So I'm just going to start adding a bunch of 2s in here. And we obviously know it's in the wrong spot, so it's not telling me it's in the wrong spot, it's just counting them. So this went black now, so that means that there should be 9 2s. If I look on this here, I got 4 there. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9. What happens when I put a 10th 2 in here? It gives me this pop-up. When you have a pop-up, you can't actually click anywhere else on the board, and it doesn't do anything. So you have to click the undo or the OK button first, and this has changed red. So now let me just change it back, and I'm going to undo this. And then when I hit the 2, it just changed it red, and there's no pop-up. And I could keep on putting more 2s in here without even realizing that this is red. You know, if I'm not being observant to it, I can just keep throwing more 2s in. So I always like to leave this on just to make sure. Now let me replay this game. And this one here, this is for your undo button. This keeps track of all the different undos that you have done during the game. The reason you may want to uncheck this is so you don't keep track of it, because your computer is starting to slow down. You can stop this at any time. Undos, this is right now set on 1 because that's all I have. But every time I click on this board, it adds another undo. And it's recording the whole entire board, the whole game. So that can add up over time if you're not careful. And then you'll see your computer slowing down. You'll click on this and wonder why it takes like a second to change. So just keep that in mind. When I go through this undo, I can select one and just use the arrow keys to go up and down through it to undo and redo what I've already done. I could start like here at number, I go all the way back to number 1, right? And then start clicking again. Actually, I'm going to click some red ones now. And it just threw them on to number 20. You know, I'm up to number 20 now. So if I go back to 1, it begins me in the game, and it's putting in the first ones that I did already. It still has them in record. And then 15 is when I started going through the game again and started making the red ones up to 20. If I uncheck this, now I can make changes, and you'll notice it's staying on 20. I can come back here to 15, make more changes, and it's still it's staying on 15. But I can go back to 20 and put it back the way it was when I was at 20. But I lost all the other things that I was going to undo and redo. They just aren't there anymore because it didn't record them. So that's where this keeping track of your undo can be helpful if you need to undo things. You could get like 3/4 of the way through the puzzle, realize you made a mistake, and then have to follow back through what you did wrong. So it's very helpful. Like, you can just go back to the beginning and say, yeah, that was supposed to be a 1. Yeah, I was supposed to do that. Oh, yep, that makes sense. I was supposed to do that. Oh, that's where I went wrong. And then see what you did wrong. So I'm just going to hit replay now to start this back over, and we can continue on with this tutorial. Okay, now that we have gone over a lot of these controls, let's go ahead and start playing the game. Now, we know that we can't have an 8 anymore on this row. We can't have an 8 anymore on this row because they're already there. So that means this row has to have an 8 because I don't see one there. And it can't be in this block because the 8's already there, and it can't be in this block because the 8's already there. The only block that's available is this one, and this is the only space in this row where it can be. So I'm going to make that the 8. So I clicked on this, and I made that, and I clicked over here. Clicking on one of these cells just sets it, so you can click on over here to make the proper number put in there. Now I'm going to come over here, and I have a 1 here and a 1 here. Now these are columns, and both these columns are also taken, but this one here, these 2 blocks have the 1, so this one needs a 1, and this is the only available spot. So I'm going to make that a 1 also. Now when I come over to this one, I see I got 2 1s in these rows, but over here, one of these 2 is going to be a 1. This one has a 1. This one doesn't have a 1. This one here is a 1, but it's already blocked off by this 2. So it could be either this one or this one. Now, when I have this set up on the lime and the red, it's so I can, I'll left click for going across rows. And that will tell me that in this row, this is where the 1 is. It makes it easier to look up. Now up here, I need a 1 in this block somewhere too. We know it's not this one. We know it's not up here because this one, and this is already filled in, but we don't know. It could be this one, or this one. So what I do in that case, I would go to rotate 5 colors, and when I click on this, it'll become white because I don't know if it's this row or this column, or it could be like something diagonal, and it's just not in a row or a column, so that's why I make them white. And now, this one also needs a 1. I have this blocked off and this one blocked off. This one here knocks off this row, and this one knocks off this. This one knocks off this column, and this one knocks off this row. So I'm just going to check on these 4 because I don't really know which one it is. But I can find out pretty soon because this one here blocks off this and this one blocks off this. So in the center one where we need one, the only available spot is right here. So then I can make that a 1, which means that this is no longer 1 and that's no longer 1. So one of these two, and notice I made them red because it's in a column now. They're the only ones that could be in that column. And that has taken all of our 1s, and I'm exhausted with what I can do with the 1s. Now I'm going to try the 2s. Here I have a 2, here I have a 2. Now I'm going to switch this back to the red and the lime again. The more times you change colors up here, the more undos you get. So if you're keeping track of how few undos you actually need, like in a competitive situation, clicking on those colors like that way will be much simpler for you when you have to click those colors. So right here, I can see I need a 2, and it could be here or here, because we have one here on this row and one here on this row. But now we also have one in this column, which means it can't be this one. So the only other spot for the 2 is here. And I will fill that in with a 2. Now we have a 2 here, a 2 here, and we need a 2 up here somewhere. This one fills this in. Since these two outside columns are filled, that means that has to be either this one or this one. This one needs a 2. This one it can't be. This one it can't be because of here. And this one can't be down here. So it's going to have to be one of these two up here also. Now all the 2s are done. So now we try for 3s. Right here we have a 3 and here we have a 3. So down here, we have a 3 here and a 3 here. So this is the only one left for a 3. Now here we have a 3, which brings me up to here. This 3 brings this one off. So all these are knocked off. They're not 3s. The 3 has to be one of these two. And there's nothing else in this column or this block here to say this, either one of these can't be a 3. So I'm going to make that 3s. Now I need to come over here for my 3s. And I got this one knocked up and this one here. So we got just these 3 here. So I'm going to have to make these back to white because I'm not sure which one of these is a 3. Now over here, we need a 3. These can't be 3s. This could be a 3 or this could be a 3. And we need a 3 and this one. So this can't be a 3 and this can't be a 3. So we'll try for here and here. Nope, this one can't be a 3 either because this one says this is the 3. See how convenient that is? So this one's going to be my 3. And that finished up with the 3s. Now I'm going to try with 4s. This one here, we can go down this one, and these 3 here are not 4s. So this is the only other available one in that block. That has to be the 4. Which means, since this one's here, and these 2 columns are taken, this one has to be the right column for the 4. When we come across here, this is taken and this is taken. So this one, or oops, I did that wrong. 4s, I'm on 4s. One of them 2 has to be a 4. And when we come over here, we can see that a 4 could be any one of these 4 down the bottom here. And then when we get onto this block, the 4 can be any one of these 4. So now we have this block here, and this block says that this one is a 4 or this one is a 4 because we have a 4 up here and this one's full. So 4 can't be up here, which means that this one has to be a 4 or that one has to be a 4. So that worked out pretty good for us. Now let's try number 5s. I see we have a 5 here and a 5 here, which takes these 3 out of the equation. So the only thing left is this one for a 5. Now we only have this one left for a 3, so that makes it simple. That one's the 3. This is the only one in this block that has 4 in it, so that's a 4. And then this one's the only one with a 1. So after you start filling them in, it becomes really quick. This one here is not a 1 anymore. That one's the 1. Pretty easy, huh? So now we come down here with this 1, and we can see that's not a 1. This one's a 1. Now this one here, you notice, just turned black. That means I don't have to look for 1s anymore. I got 9 of them out there. And you can see there's 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1 in each block. And you could also check that across for the rows and then for the columns. And there'll only be 1, 1 in each of them. So now we were doing 5s. Did I get all my 5s done? No, I did not. Here I have 2 5s here. I need a 5 in this one. And that's going to go across here. I'm going to switch this back to the lime and the red so I can do this quicker. Okay, we need a 5. Okay, no 5 here and no 5 here. That means that one of these two has to be the 5. So no 5 here, no 5 here, which means this one is the 5. And there's no 5 in these two, so one of these two has to be a 5. So now I've got all my 5s done, except for this one. And this one tells me that either one of these two has to be a 5. So I'm just going to go back to this and make it white. Now I'm going to try for 6s. We have a 6 here and a 6 here. Back to my line in my red. We have a 6 here, so this one has to be the 6. So now I've got 2 6s there, and this one's the only one left in this column, so that one's the 6. And then I don't have a 6 in these 2 blocks here, so this 6 is going to be going up and down, and this one. And then we got this one blocked off, so this 6 is going to have to be here or here, because this one's blocked off the center one. And then we need a 6 in this middle slot, in this upper middle block. This is not a 6. And any one of these 5 can be a 6. So let me go ahead and change them. And then this one here, I need to make this one or this one a 6. Now you see this one has a 4 and a 6, this has a 4 and a 6, and there's no others that have a 4 and a 6. So these two can't be anything other than a 4 or a 6. So now we're going to move on to 7s. Well, this one here, we obviously know this one needs to be a 7. Either this one or this one. And there is no other 7s to stop either one of them. Actually, I only see this 7 and this 7 on the board altogether, which would make this one be a 7. So now we have 7s that could go up here. No, I'm just going to leave it on that color. And up here, we know that's not a 7 up there. This could be a 7, this could be a 7, this could be a 7. And this one here, this could be a 7, that could be a 7, this could be a 7, this could be a 7. Because this is the only 2 that are blocked by that 7. So this one here, the only 7s can be is right in here. And that one's got a 7, 7, 7, 7. This one here, I need to figure out where the 7 is. It's not here, and it's not in these 2, which means that 7's going to have to be in one of these 3, which now tells me it's not these 2, so it has to be this one. And since it's this one, it's not these 2, so it's going to be one of them 2. Okay, now we'll go with 8s. we already did this first 8. So we got our top 3 blocks all done. This one here says this is an 8 in here somewhere. Or no 8s in this one rather. There's no 8s across here. So it's going to be this one. And I don't see any blocks for that one or this one. This one has an 8, so we need to put an 8 somewhere over here. This one has an 8 coming down, so this can't be an 8. These two aren't 8s, so this 8 has to come across either here or here, because this one has this center one blocked off. So we have an 8 here and an 8 here, so which means this 8 has to be one of these 3, because none of them are blocked off. Now, this one needs to get an 8, and these two columns are blocked, so this 8 has to be either here or here. Now we have an 8 here, but we don't know where the 8 is in one of these two, so any one of these could actually be an 8. Now we can start with the 9s. 9s are the last number. We have a 9 right across the top. And we have a 9 here. So these are knocked off. So this could be a 9, this could be a 9, or this could be a 9. Because there's nothing else down here that's a 9. There's nothing over here that's a 9. So we come over this way and we see that this one or this one could be the 9. Because this one can't be. So this one's filled up now with a 9. And this is filled up with a 9. This is filled up with a 5, 3. So this one has to be the 9. And look at this. This was the only one left in this whole column here. When you see that you only got one left in a column, you can always count these numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then, your last number is a 9. So now when we come down to this one, we know our 9 is going to be one of these 3. Because they're the only 3 left, and nothing's blocked keeping it from being a 9 over here. And over here, we have this one is a 9. So we don't know. This one could be a 9. This could be a 9. This could be a 9. Or this could be a 9. But we don't know yet. And over here, we have 9s blocking this one off. Which means that one of these two is definitely a 9. So this is not a 9 and this is not a 9. So one of these two is going to be the 9. Now, if you take a look at this, we've got a 7 and a 9 and a 7 and a 9 that are both red going up and down in this column. That tells me this can't be a 4 and this can't be a 4 because one's going to have to be a 7 and one's going to have to be a 9. And besides that, we have the 4 up here right now. So now let's go and check to see how many of these white ones that we have in here that should be made black. But before I do that, I just want to show you this section here. It says G2B, go. G is the background color. You have all these different background colors, which is actually the same colors that are in here. And you can change this to this. So right now, it will change all the gray backgrounds to black when I click go. Because all of my numbers are checked off except for the ones that I don't want. So now we can take a look at this and say, this one here, I did put in a 3, 4, 1, and a 7. So I don't have a 3, 4, 1, and a 7 anywhere in there. And this one here has a 1, and I don't see any 1s in there anywhere. And this one has a 3, 7, 5, and I don't see any of them in there. This one only has the 9, I don't see that. This has a 4 and a 1, they're not there. This one has a 3, and I don't see that there. There's a 1, 6, 7, and they're not there. This one has a 6, they're not there. A 1 and a 2, and they're not there. So this is a 1 and a 9. Oh, here's a 9. So I can't have that as a 9. That has to be the 7. And this one has to be the 9. So this one here now has a 7. So that can't be the 7. You know what? I'm going to put this down to default as black. That can't be the 7. So the only other, oh no, there's 2 7s here. Okay, this one here has a 9 and a 2. And I don't see a 9 and 2. This one has a 6. There's no 6 across. 1 and a 6. No 1 and a 6. Oh, there's a 4 also, and there's no 4. A 1 and a 3. That's none of them. And here's a 7. I don't see any 7s. This has a 1. There's no 1s going up and down. And 7. This one here is 1. You can really check all your numbers if you want to. And this one has a 2, and I don't see any 2s. Oh, here's a 3, and this 3 is already done. So this one's going to be the 8. Okay, now I have an 8 here and an 8 here. The only other 8 left is here, so that one's the 8. One more thing I want to point out. Before I had told you that when there's a 5 and a 3, like just 2 of them, that means nowhere else in the block there can be a 5 or a 3, so these could never be a 5 or a 3. This also is applying to this row, this column. Nowhere else there could be a 5 or a 3. And also, in a situation like right here, we have a 4 and a 6, but down here in the same row, I keep calling it a row, it's a column, we have another 4 and a 6. So either this one's going to be the 4, or this is going to be the 6, and then this one will be the other one. So down nowhere in here, like this 6 here, this cannot be a 6, because one of these two has got to be the 6. So that would have to be the 5. So this one I can actually change to red if I want to. But this one has an 8 here now, and this one is not the 8. So that one has to be the 4. Take away that's 4. Now this one's the 3. Over here we have a 4. So that one's not the 4. That one's the 8. And then there was an 8 down here, so that makes that one a 7. This one's not a 7 now, so that one's got to be the 4. So now this is a 7, and over here we have a 7. So that one's going to be the 5. And that's not a 5, so that one has to be the 7. Now this is not a 5, so this one has to be the 3. And this is not a 3, so this one has to be the 5. And the pieces are just starting to go together pretty quick, aren't they? This is not a 5 here, so this one is not a 5. So this one has to be the 5. And then this one's not a 5. Okay. This one here is not a 7. This is not a 7. This one's got to be the 9. So that means that that's not a 9. That one has to be the 6. It's not a 9 or 6. That's not a 6. And this is not a 6. That one's got to be the 4. It's the only 4 left on there. That's not a 4. So that one's got to be the 2. That's not a 2. That one has to be the 7. So this one's not a 7. So this one's got to be the 9. Then that's not a 9. This is not a 9. This is not a 9. And then here we have a 5. So this one's not a 5. So that's going to be 7. We have a 4 up here. So this one's not a 4. That one's got to be the 6. This can't be a 6. That's going to be the 4. And then we've got a lone 8 by itself here. And a lone 5. So we know that this one's the 8. And we know this one's the 5. And then this is an 8. So that's not an 8. This is an 8. So that's not an 8. So this has to be the 8. And we have a 6 and a 9. Oops, here's a 6. So that's not a 6. That's a 9. So this one has to be the 6. And over here we have a 9, so we're going to take this 9 away, make that a 4. Take that 4 away, make this one a 9. And up here we have a 6 right here, so this can't be a 6. That has to be the 9. This can't be a 9, so it's got to be a 2. Then this one, see, I only got the 6 left up here. They all turned black. That tells me the only thing left is a 6. Voila. Tells me I have it done. I can play my next game if I want, or I can cancel and go for a replay. Or I could select my own, or I could even do the next one down here. Now this here is our help checkbox, since we just showed you how to play the game. Well, let me do the undo things because I can show you how the game went backwards. And I could actually pick this up now from anywhere in here, but it took me 253 tries to do level 5. Okay, now let's go over the help checkbox. When you click this, you get this dialog up here, and it can, you roll your mouse over different things, and you can see different helps for each of these. It tells you what the different objects are about. Um, and it can give you some help that maybe I didn't fill you in with all the way today. Let me do a replay. No, let me go select a game. I want to select a hard game. Let me select something like puzzle number 1400. Okay. I just typed that in with the keypad. Go to set up the board. And let me uncheck the help. Make that disappear. Now, this is my help solve button. I'm going to go over and help solve real quick. You can see there's a little number 1 that popped up there. That's because I'm on my first help solve 1. This will be the first time that I click it. And what this is going to do, it's going to go over the board. I'll show you after it does it. It looks at the board and it's saying like, this one here has pretty many left. So let me just go over this one quickly. It looks across here and says there's no ones here. There's no ones here, and there's no ones here. So this one can stay. But the 2, however, is right here in this box, so we can't have another one here. Then it's going to look at the 3, and it doesn't find the 3s anywhere in this block, this row, or this column. So it says we'll leave the 3. The 4 it finds here. The 5 it's not finding. The 6 is found over here. The 7's found here. The 8 is found down here. And the 9 it doesn't find. So that's what it's basically doing when you do it the first time. And you'll notice this one here only has a 9. This one only has an 8. That's going to tell you that this one is a 9 and this one is an 8. Now the next time I click on this help solve button, it starts filling them in. And these are blue. These aren't green. This is not yours that you did, but you can change these anyway. And as you'll see, it went through here and it also started pulling some of these others off. The 9's not over here anymore where it was because it now has a 9 here. Now you see this one has a 5 and a 3 and this has a 5 and a 3 and there's only 1 7 in this. So when I click help solve again, I'm pretty sure that 7 is going to change. And you can see my little thing says this will be my 3rd time clicking help solve. Once you click one of these boards, you just canceled all your help solves. It won't solve anymore. So you don't click on this if you're trying to solve it with the help solve. Okay, so this time I put in orange and it threw in some more blues because it went back on that other cycle. And it's also knocked off some more numbers for me. So now we can click help solve again. This will be number 4, the 4th time. It didn't do anything. So we try the 5th time. It still didn't do anything, did it? So try it the 6th time. And then we're going to try it the 7th time too, huh? And now we'll try it again the 8th time. Nothing? So we try it again the 9th time. Still nothing? So we try it again the 10th time. Okay, now it's running into issues. It's not been programmed to go beyond the 10th time of trying. So it can take a guess if you want it to try to get it done, or we can cancel. Let's just cancel it and see what this puzzle is actually giving me. Here we have a 1 and a 3 and a 1 and a 3. So we know one of these is a 1, one of these is 3. And then we know one of these is a 1 and one of these is a 3. So we don't know over here what's going on with the 1s, 3, and the 5s. This here's a 1 and a 6. This is a 1 and a 6. This one here's a 5 and a 6, and this is a 5 and a 6. So it just makes it like difficult to tell. So I'm just going to take a guess myself. I'm going to make this one a 3, which means this one will have to be a 1, and this one will have to be a 3. This is not a 3, so it could be a 1 or a 5. So then I have to take another guess, because I don't know if this is a 1 or a 5. So I'm just going to make this one a 5. So this one's not a 5. This one's got to be the 6. And this one has to be a 1. And this one has to be a 6. And this one has to be a 5. And this has to be a 1. And this has to be a 6. And this one here has to be a 1. It says, congratulations, I did it right. Okay, now I'm deliberately not going to go to my next game because I want to do the undo and just show you some of these puzzles. Okay, that one I made it 3. So this time I'm just going to make this one to 1. Switch it up, which means this one's not a 1. This is not a 1, that's a 5. So that one's going to be the 5. That's not a 5, so that's got to be 3. This is not a 3, so this one has to be a 1. And this one has to be a 3. This one is not a 1, so it's going to be the 6. Then this one will be the 1. This one's not a 6, so it's going to be the 5. And this one will be the 6. This isn't a 1, so this will be a 6. And this one will be a 1. So this one had 2 different answers, reason why I couldn't solve it. Okay, so now we went over the undo, we went over the help solve. The replay just resets your board. Select puts you up at the top here, so you can set up your board up here, or select a new puzzle. Next, this is 1400. This is your puzzle name right down here, your puzzle number, where you can click next, and it sets up the next board, which is 1401. And I can select it, and I can actually go back to 1400 if I want to. The save button. Okay, the last button we have to go over is the save button. The save button lets me save an unfinished game such as this one, so I can start it up again later. I can only save one game at a time, but I'll have an option whether I want to load it or not. And if I do load it and I can play it again later, if I don't go back and delete it, it'll keep wanting to load up the same saved game. So let me save this game and show you how this is done. Click on the save button. Up here, put my text in. Then I'm going to type in Notepad. I'm going to save this in Notepad. And up at the top here, it gives me my path to save this in. So now, when I press F5, oops, that's Notepad, sorry. Press F5 to refresh this page. It asks me if I want to load my saved game. And it tells me I've saved puzzle number 1400. And do I want to load it? I can click OK. And then I come down to the puzzle box, and there it is. Notice my help solve button is now disabled no matter where I stopped it at. Okay. Well, that should wrap this up. I hope you have fun playing this game. You can check out Liked if you want. And thank you very much.